What's going on, fam? Alex Lindsay here for the Anti-Hustlers Weekly Show. As always, joined by my co-host, Brian Downard. Today, we are launching our brand new show as we move into 2023, and we are here to talk to you about how to make more money doing less work. That's the goal for today. We're so excited to have you. If you are watching with us live on our Facebook group, please feel free to join us. The link will always be the same. It'll be a short link, bit.ly/Alex Zoom Room. We will be moving forward doing this show every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, live in this room and live on our Facebook group. You'll also be able to watch every single replay of all of those sessions that we do live on YouTube or on Facebook, and then on replays on your favorite podcast apps, which we're all really excited about. The new exciting element of the show is that we're actually doing it in a mastermind format. You're all welcome to come on to the show and be a part of the show every single week, which we're really looking forward to and really excited about getting this launched off. Brian, my man, how you doing today? Getting this launched off.
I can't complain at all, man. I was going to ask if, as we're learning some of the ins and outs of hosting this live with other people, you give us a little bit of grace, but I'm excited to see some people who otherwise we wouldn't normally hang out with, and then other people I get to see all the time. So this is awesome. Yeah, and we got a nice topic for today's introductory episode.
Absolutely. How to work less and earn more. And I think it's a main goal for many, many people. There's going to be 3 elements that we're going to be talking about here today. I'm going to drop them here in the chat for you that are watching live and also on our Facebook group as well. The 3 goals of this call are 3 elements. Number 1, how you can audit the last 90 days, the last quarter, to identify the 80-20 levers to maximize your time and profits. Number 2, my define, design, do journal to create a clear roadmap to your version of success. And then number 3, identifying key team members or automations needed to scale without your direct involvement. These are the 3 things we're going to be covering every week. Our goal is to have a show that's roughly about 30 minutes long or so, so it can be bite-sized, super valuable, and get you the insight that you are looking for. All right. Really excited to get this going. Before we do, Brian, what does this topic mean to you in terms of working less and making more?
I'm glad you kicked it over to me because I was kind of thrown into the topic today. Not 1,000% sure what we're covering, but I'm always good for anything. And I do love this one. But because I'm coming in here without the pre-planned things we were going to discuss, to me, it's like just choosing. If you want to work less, it just starts with actually choosing to work less. We were on the Scale 7 call last night, and we were talking about one thing we were proud of in 2022. And I had mentioned becoming a dad, and that was something I was proud of. And on Monday, when my parents were here visiting for the holidays and they're from California, they're downstairs playing with my daughter, and it's Monday afternoon, but I still have work to do. I literally made the conscious decision, you know what? This work can just wait. I'm going to go spend time with my parents, my daughter, and I want to be there because I'm not always going to get that. And I think that just, to me, it comes down to choice, man. You just got to choose to do that sometimes. And as entrepreneurs, regardless of how much money you're making, you do have that flexibility of choice. So exercise it. That's what it means to me.
Love that. Such a powerful way to get started for today. What I wanted to do to really make the first show that we've done extremely valuable is give away some of our really valuable SOPs that we have in Prospecting on Demand, our mentorship community, because that's going to help you ultimately get the most out of this show, specifically today on how to work less but make more. I love Brian's mindset about actually choosing. One of the easiest ways to choose is by identifying first what 80-20 levers there are for you to identify, hey, this 20% of effort I'm putting in is generating 80% of my results. That's how I should be moving forward in my life and business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen for you all. For those of you that are watching live, if you want this, just drop a Q in the chat below or drop a Q on the Facebook group, and I will share this quarterly audit SOP with you. This SOP is incredibly valuable to implement. I'm just going to be briefly running through a few elements of this SOP that we find to be really valuable. The first thing I'll do is just share with you each of the main elements. The first one is reviewing company values and culture. A lot of people skip over this. Obviously, I'm always wearing the culture hat, besides for the fact to hide that I'm clearly balding at 31 years old. Other than that, the reason we're always wearing it is because this really matters to us. Community, culture, the ability to make impact in other people's lives by having that type of community and culture, especially your team and your clients. It's important because if you don't have values, someone else will decide it for you. usually your clients. And it's really important that you put that structure together. Number two, your goal reviews, comparing your actual performance to your expectations. We're going to talk a good amount, about goals today, because it's something that a lot of people do is kind of moving the goalposts. We want you to have very clear, actionable goals that are able to actually be hit versus just, hey, like I'm hoping that I can hit this, and then it doesn't even matter if you hit it or not. The third one is a team member review, an idea of identifying who's the MVP of your team and why, and then what you can do to optimize to get further along with the best quality team members you have. Number four, a holistic growth review, identifying metrics that really matter to you most in your business. You'll notice we have a bunch of examples here because at the end of the day, it's going to be different for every type of business, every person, because it's your company. You're the one that dictates what really matters to you. And then number five is your investment review, right? The investment review is the idea of glaring weaknesses that need investment in your intervention or the best investments that you have made recently. One of the things that Brian and I have spoken about recently on the previous show we've done, the Get More Clients show, was talking about making sure that you can't be chasing pennies while you're trying to make millions. And it's very strange how a lot of people refuse to make the investments in their business either out of fear or out of lack of funds because they won't get to the place they want to without making that investment. And that's what this is all about. So this is a really powerful audit SOP to identify the ways that you can 80-20 your business. Brian, how do you recommend for anyone watching the show live or on replay for them to consider 80-20ing their business moving into the new year?
Sure. I don't know why I'm feeling very direct and a little spicy today for some reason. So I'm
gonna bring it. I want the spice.
You have to just be honest with yourself and look at some of the things that you maybe think that you enjoy doing, but don't actually create results. And for me, I always joke that if you go to briandowner.com and you look on my blog, I got a lot of really good written content. I got beautiful infographics I designed, and I enjoyed spending hours making infographics, but I had to have a hard conversation with myself and like, is this really creating a return for me and making me any money? And it really wasn't. And I think just being brutally honest with yourself and like, is this activity moving in that direction or is it just busy work? And I think a lot of times we find busy work for ourselves instead of moving specifically towards a place. I also think it's because we focus too much on the goal and not the activity that achieves the goal. I talk about this often where it's like the goal shouldn't be the goal. The goal is the activity to achieve the goal. So if you want to win a Super Bowl ring, you can't just have a goal to win a Super Bowl ring. Your goal should be, I'm going to practice football every day, all day, and I'm going to put myself in the gym from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And because that's what it takes to get that. That's the activity required. And even then we still might not. So to me, it's like the only failure is not trying. And so if you don't get to your goal in a time frame that you want, or you are upset with where you're at, like the only failure is going backward or not doing anything about it, like giving up on it. So that's how I feel about it, is you got to have a real hard conversation with yourself around that.
Yeah, I love that. Such great insight. And the other piece that I wanted to add to this point related to like making sure you choose and having the right identifications. Once you look at that SOP and you take the time to go through it, and I strongly recommend anyone watching live or anyone watching on replay, grab that document and put an hour in the calendar sometime next week to go through it and start identifying elements that matter to you. One of the things that I really wanted to discuss related to 80-20 is making sure that you read what that actual value bomb is, where it says maximizing your time and profits. Read that word again, profits. There seems to be in the industry today, there's kind of this weird way of people trying to kind of pull some clout or proof of value that they're bringing to the table because they're making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month. But the reality is those companies are often profiting 5 or 10 or 15%. And it's absolutely insane, right? Our goal in POD is coaching people to have a leaner business with higher profit margins. Your goal should be identifying what is bringing you the most profit, both fulfillment-wise in terms of enjoyment and also financially, not just what's bringing you more revenue. It's a very important piece. My recommendation is simply looking at all of the clients that you've acquired in the last 90 days. Where did they come from? Which ones were the most beneficial to you and how do you maximize those opportunities? What were the costs to fulfill those services? Were they worth the time when you consider that you fulfilled them at this cost, at this price range, at this markup? Or is it something that needs to be optimized moving forward? So you either increase your price or change who's doing fulfillment or ensuring that you have more ability to make more money, because that's ultimately what you're here for, to make more money. That's the idea. But you can only do that with appropriate 80-20 principles. That's what it's going to take. Brian, is there anything else you want to bring up related to 80-20 in your business?
Yeah, I would say the easiest lever people can pull, if you only changed one thing in your business to make more money and be more profitable, all those things, is just increasing your price. And I've often spoke about the people who pay the least expect the most. And I'm constantly reminded of this. And so we have a Airbnb we run on the side, and we lower prices on weekdays that aren't booked yet to fill them. Like, so airplane companies or airlines will do this, where they'll discount ticket seats to fill the plane, because those planes are flying no matter what, right? Like, they want to fill the seats and they'd rather sell it at a lower price. I found out those people who are booking that, much cheaper days in the middle of the week are much more demanding. They're like complaining about 3 or 4 things. And I very politely had to say to someone's like, hey, totally understand if you want to stay somewhere else tonight, happy to refund you the money for the day. Because to me, like, the money they pay me for that one day isn't worth the amount of headaches that they're giving me. And I'm also doing a little bit facetiously, where it's like, there's a blizzard coming tonight. Like, just there's blankets in the house, there's space heaters, you can figure it out. So yeah, to me, it's like, you don't want to have to baby your clients like that. And typically the people who are paying the least are going to need to be babied. And we also spoke about last night the idea of, trying to do all the things for your clients. Like, if you have to hold their hand to show them how to close deals, that's going to be an uphill battle for you too. Like, work with companies who have a proven sales system, so you don't have to do that, and you can just be a lead provider. So anyways, if you want to, we're talking about 80-20, it's like, usually the simplest answer is the best. And too often we want to be an all-encompassing, basically, what's the word that people use? Not all in one, but
comprehensive,
full service. Full service agency.
Absolutely.
I'm like, don't do that. You're like, you got 3 people on your team. Don't do that right now. So
absolutely, pick and choose your battles. Yeah, I love that. I think that's absolutely brilliant and valuable. Hey, because we never get to do this show with people on
Bradford here and Lane.
Right? Oh, Steve is here. I love you, Steve. We don't get to do the show with people. This is the first show we've done with people ever. We've never done the show with people. So let's open up the floor. Does anyone have any questions or any thoughts about how you would 80-20 your business? Just want to give you a chance. Speak it out. Talk into existence. Or don't say one word. We'll have awkward silence, and then Brian and I will continue. Don't worry. We can easily talk for 2 hours. Don't stress on it. We're very good at that. I promise.
Lane unmuted himself. What's up, Lane?
What up, Lane? Good to see you, buddy.
I'm just laughing at Alex. We can just have awkward silence.
I mean, it's true. It's facts, right? I mean, I'm just
We've done this enough. We know the game.
I know the game. I'm good at it. My favorite line is when a bunch of people are in a room and they're not talking. I'm like, hey guys, when you all talk at the same time, I can't hear anything. It's hard to hear. That's kind of my move. Does anyone want to touch on how they're 80-20ing their business principles moving forward into 2023? Go ahead, Brett.
I just want to thank you guys. You've been great for me in pod to change my thought process. When I came in, I was stuck in the fulfillment trap. And I was the lid on my agency because of my own capacity and bandwidth. And I was working too much and it was killing me. So I partnered with Lane down here. I partnered with a couple of other people to help me with fulfillment that expanded my capacity to serve clients better. And I made a goal by the end of the year to do only CEO related activities, and I missed it, but I'm so close. But you guys have been great for my mindset. And I mean, I've been around this community for about 6 months, but it's been a game changer for me, and my revenue's doubled. But I'm getting my time back, and today is my last work day of the year. I'm taking 10 days off, and it's my first time I've ever been able to just really unplug and enjoy my family at the Christmas season. So grateful to you guys.
I appreciate that very much.
But I've been focusing on just thinking and acting like a CEO and empowering my team and not being a control freak and letting things go. And you guys have emboldened me to do that. So I'm grateful.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Love that. I appreciate that very much. Super grateful for it. Brian, it worked perfectly, by the way, like planting Brett here to share his testimonial. Dude, you're so smart. I'm kidding. We didn't do that, but it would have been pretty funny. And
every week we got to do that.
Definitely not our style. Pete, take it.
I'm not a client. I'm just great.
This is a non-customer sponsored testimonial or whatever they say on the commercials. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Brett. And I always used to hear like that mindset, oh, do CEO activities. And I don't think it really sank in for me until one of our mentors and people we worked with, Brett Linenthal, was really holding Alex and my feet to the fire. Like, don't do anything that isn't a $1,000 an hour task. And if you are, you need to be finding people who can do that work for you. And obviously, it's not always going to be the case. There's going to be a lot of times you have to do stuff that you could very likely be paying someone else almost nothing, unfortunately, depending on where they're in the world to do. But and a lot of times, like you put it through that filter, like, is this a $1,000 an hour task? Is this a $500 an hour task? If no, I need to find someone else to be able to do that for me. I think that was something that really sunk with me. And hopefully you too, Alex. I've seen you step more out of the day to day since those conversations as well.
Yeah, no, it's really important. I'm obsessive. Anyone that works with me knows I'm obsessive. More than half the people on this call, I would consider good friends and also clients. We got Steve Bradford in here, Jose Soto, Brett Williamson, Ryan Hurst, Lane Hauk, Ben Hamill has been to many of our events. Like, I'm obsessive about client success and the work that we put in. So like, one of our coaching models is the CHAMP model. It's an acronym for the way that we deliver our support. Caring, helpful, available, motivating, and proactive. But with that, there's also a dark side to it, because we prioritize the wrong things, right? Like, I can't be spending time with my 2-year-old son thinking about how, Ryan Hurst had some sort of obstacle that I'm dealing with. You know why? Because I know Ryan doesn't want me thinking about that shit while I'm playing with my kid. But that type of obsession is very common for entrepreneurs and agency owners in general. So what Brian said at the beginning of how to work less and earn more, that idea of it being a decision, like a choice, I feel like is very, very empowering, and something that should really empower many of you to really choose to identify, to utilize agency that you have, not your marketing agency, your agency as in your power of choice. That is such an incredible gift that we all have as being entrepreneurs. We better use it. Let's move on here to topic number 2, which is very close to my heart and really important, which is the define, design, and do journal. Now, many of you might know this. The reason why we named this show the Anti-Hustlers Weekly Show is because I'm very excitedly working on the Anti-Hustlers handbook that I've been writing for about a year. I was really hoping to get it launched by January. It probably won't be. I would expect it more so February or March, but it will be here as soon as possible. If you haven't gotten the sneak peek chapter, let me know in the chat below. I will drop it for you if you haven't had it. Just write anti in the chat and I'll send it over to you. I did a Loom video breaking down one of my favorite chapters in the book, and I would love your feedback to see how you think about it. But I'm really, really excited about it. The whole purpose of it is to go against the grain of what everyone else is always doing, which is hustle culture. Work more, do more, hustle more. If you're not working hard, you're failing. If you're not growing, you're dying. And I just think it's a very negative mindset to have, and the most inappropriate way to achieve what you want. And the biggest reason why is because the mountains that we climb are seemingly never good enough for most businesses. And what I mean by that is you achieve something that you said really, really mattered, only to get to that mountain, and immediately you say, there's another summit that I must climb. Not because the summit matters to you, but the climb is the thing that you're so entrenched into, that you so desperately want. But that causes a lot of anxiety and stress and frustration for people, because they get burnt out, frustrated, and ultimately feel like there's nothing that's fulfilling to them. And so all it really takes is 3 simple steps: defining, designing, and doing. And you know what the crazy thing is? It's so logical, and yet 90% of entrepreneurs skip the first 2. They just do. Now, I don't know if this is you, but this is me. And I know Brian's going to laugh at me, because I just want to be upfront. I am the most unhandy person in the world. I barely can put up a picture in my office, let alone fix a washing machine or whatever it might be. But whenever I get a new piece of furniture, the idea of me following like a handbook, like the guidebook of how to do it, I'm like, I don't need your instructions, IKEA. I could do this myself. And then obviously, the chair that I put together falls apart instantaneously. And then I was, should have just followed the path the way that it was listed out. And I feel like that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. They just skip defining what they want. They skip designing the roadmap to doing it, and they just do things. They just do stuff. They just outreach, they call, they take action, they do things, but they don't get anywhere. They don't grow in any way. They don't achieve anything. They don't have a sense of fulfillment, because it's just being done for no reason other than because. And so my recommendation to everyone I work with is implementing this define, design, do journal, because this is how you will end up working less and making more money in 2023. And it's very simple to do. Defining just comes through a place of actually taking the time to identify what you want in your life. That's all it takes. What do you want in your life? Now, there's two reasons why people won't do this definition, and they're asinine. Bluntly, they are asinine. Number one reason is they don't know what they want from their life. Okay, you and so many others, that's okay. It's totally fine that you don't know. I'll explain why in a second. Number two, the second reason why people don't define what they want in their life is because they're fearful that they'll never achieve it. Here's the thing, okay? If you don't know what you want, it's pretty easy to do an audit to identify the last time that you were truly happy and satisfied. Jennifer, our incredible accountability coach and operations manager at POD, we do virtual coffees with new clients. And one of the questions we ask is, when was the last time you were genuinely happy? And the answers to these questions have been incredible to see over the last few months, because ultimately what we're striving for at Prospecting on Demand is not just how do I make more money, it's how do I create more fulfillment? How do I enjoy the business that I'm doing? How do I make sure that I'm enjoying the process in which I'm doing work every single day, because there's something greater than just the work itself? And what we identify is so many people are not optimizing for happiness. They're optimizing for things that they don't actually care about. They're optimizing for extra dollars or extra cents that don't have any purpose or reason. So if you take the time to identify what you believe you'd want, even if you hit that and you're not happy yet, guess what you have the ability to do? Optimize once again to once more define what you think you want to be happy. It's incredibly impactful to do this, because once you identify how much money that you actually need, it gives you so much more clarity to have your sacrifices being more reasonable versus them just being for no reason whatsoever. Most people, when you say, hey, do you want more money? They say, absolutely. When you say why, they say because. And when you say why, they say, I don't know. They say, I don't know. Well, it's really important that you take the clarification of why you're working your fucking ass off every single day to identify what you're going to do with that newfound cash, with that newfound money. How will it be invested? What will you be able to do with it? What will you do with the newfound cash that you have? And the second point of identifying, well, I'm afraid that I won't ever hit it. Well, here's the great thing. A lot of people might shoot for the stars, land on the moon, and recognize, well, I was really happy. You might say, I want to have a $10 million home. You get to a point where you can own a $1 million home and say, wow, I'm so incredibly happy. This is why defining matters so much. And once it's defined, now you have a clear goal in mind, not something that someone else told you, not something that Brian or Alex mentioned on a call, not something that Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk said was cool, not something that Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins or Shark Tank guys say this is what you should achieve. It's what you defined, what you identified that you want. And now there's a purpose behind it. And so when you design the path to getting there, these are the milestones required to do it. Now you have so much more passion, confidence, and belief that you can actually make it happen. That's why this define, design, do journal is so important. There's no special journal. All that you have to do is define what you want, design the KPIs and milestones to get that, and then do the work. That's the key. That's what I really believe in. So I want to spiel on that. Brian, if you want to add something.
I do. I'm going to bring it back down to like a way you can actually execute on this. Hopefully, this is why Alex and I are a good team. I just drew this simple note thing here on my computer. Very simple, right? Like, so the first thing in terms of like define is you need to define the outcome, right? Whatever that outcome is, it's a number, it's a place you want to be, whatever the goal is, that's the first thing. And then when we say design, don't just have the goal. You need to actually define what are the milestones on that journey in order to achieve the goal. So this is where you're designing it, right? And I brought this up at the very beginning of the call. Now it's not just necessarily like what is the goal and what are the milestones on the journey to that goal. Most importantly of all is what is the action in between that thing that will help you achieve that. So if step one is, get your first clients on board, then maybe you have to start doing some outreach or giving your service away for free. Then if the next is scale my proven service from $10,000 to $30,000 recurring, maybe it's starting to run ads. I want to scale even further. So you need to define the goal, the milestones to that goal, and then the actions in between. And then the actions are what you focus on. That's what when you start doing. When you get to the do part here, this is what you focus on. So it could have changed action to do, but anyways.
Love it. Just love it. So good. Let's wrap up here with the last piece of the first Anti-Hustlers Weekly show, and that is identifying the key team members or automation needed to scale without your direct involvement. Now, this is a very simple thing. Once again, we're really going to overload you guys with value today on this show, but it's so easy to do this and will make a massive difference in your business. All that you need is prompts. You don't even need this SOP. You just need the prompts that this SOP is bringing up to identify what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Brian and I are working right now on the Unplugged event, and I'm not going to share with you what we're doing, but part of the event is talking about ensuring you do what you want to do, not what you have to do, because anything that you think you have to do in your business is likely wrong. It is more than likely capable of being delegated. And once again, when you take ownership and recognize that you have the control to do whatever you like in your life and in your business, that is a completely massive mindset shift to identifying what will it take to do the things only that I want to do, not the things I have to do. And there's just 5 questions to ask. Brian, why don't you break the 5 questions to clarity down for everyone?
For those who can't read for themselves, I got you. What took my energy? What non-CEO activities did I do? What tasks can be delegated? What systems do I need? And what can I stop doing? I mostly just start with, what can I stop doing and what can be delegated? If you're going to like really distill this, those are really, really important ones. You just got to be asking yourself that every week. And again, if they don't fall into a category of, hey, this is a $500 to $1,000 an hour task, then you should consider if you should be doing that or not. And if you're wondering, at my point now, like what is a $1,000, $500 an hour task? It's probably revenue generating activities. It's probably whether that's getting ads set up to bring in inbound leads, putting yourself in rooms with people who can send you clients. Like it's likely those things that are maybe a bit uncomfortable and outside of what you want to do. And I'll be blunt here again today. A lot of people get into the online marketing game because we're lazy. We don't want to have to go to a 9 to 5 and put on clothes and, put on a suit and go to work.
Are you saying right now you're not wearing clothes under the...
I got pants on today.
Okay, good. Just making sure. It's a new show. I don't know what Brian's doing. I don't know.
There's a blizzard coming. I am hunkering down. You just gotta find the willpower to do it, guys. That's it. No one else is gonna do it for you. You gotta find the willpower yourself.
I think the last piece I want to make clear as we wrap this up in terms of identifying team and automations that are needed. The reason we ask those questions in that linear format is just to identify, in order to delegate anything, you're going to have a system for it. And that's all the reason that we have that framework. But the last piece to consider is no one can tell you what you should do in your business. People think that there's a right or wrong way to run a company, but that's not true. At the end of the day, it's whatever you want to do. Whatever you get fulfillment from, whatever you enjoy doing. So I still enjoy doing sales. So I do sales for prospecting on demand. Is that a scalable solution? No. Am I trying to scale it? No. This is what I'm happy with. So I like doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. But the thing is, I can't be bitching to Brian or Jennifer or my wife about doing it, because then I'm saying I want it, but then I'm complaining about it. Those don't work. That doesn't match. So if you want your team to be able to execute for you, identify the things you want to do, and then make sure everything else is capable of being delegated or automated. And there's so many different ways to do that. The first, though, is through prompts. That is the first Anti-Hustlers Weekly show. B-Dog, anything else you want to say before we close out?
No, that was fun. Appreciate everyone's time.
A lot of fun.
During the busy holidays. Love seeing some of these faces I haven't seen in a minute. It's always
Absolutely.
awesome.
Happy holidays to all of you. We love all of you. We're grateful for you. We'll be back next Thursday once again for the Anti-Hustlers Weekly show. Feel free to come on out, come hang out, spend some time with us. We're always looking forward to this. I'm already more excited about this than the usual show, Brian. This is way more fun. This is going to be great. Really looking forward to it. Next week we'll come back. We have no idea what we're going to talk about, but we'll figure it out. We'll give you something good. I don't know what it's going to be, but something good.
The content team will tell us. They know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's true. The content team is going to tell us. One of these days, though, we'll do another cold call shot line and get everyone to have a good time with us.
Yes.
We'll maybe we'll do a whole crew cold call shot line. All right, fam, love you all. I'll end with this: wishing you all a year of good health, happiness, and success for you and your loved ones. Enjoy time with your family this week. Don't overwork yourself. Remember, December 31 and January 1, there's no difference.
Smoke a cigar.
Yeah, I don't really like cigars. I'm more of the 420 kind of fan, but
Well,
whatever,
let's
dude.
smoke one of those too. Or two.
Yeah, do whatever you guys want to do. It's all good. It's all
I got
good.
some right here.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
POD does not.
This show went off the rails quickly.
POD does not recommend illegal and illicit drugs. And with that, we will end the
Happy
first Anti-Hustlers Weekly
Happy
Show. See you,
Hanukkah,
man.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.